Hyundai is a well-liked brand in South Africa. They make cars that are good to look at, nice to drive, and generally speaking, quite well spec'd. But Hyundai are quite shy about publishing the actual numbers of each model that they sell, although it doesn't take too much of an observant eye to realize that there is one of their models that isn't popular at all. This is it. The Veloster. At a guess, I'd say that for every 100 cars that Hyundai sells, one of them is one of these. And I'd also say that's a fairly generous guess. We drove this car a while back on RPM TV, but this is the newer turbo model released a few months ago. The power upgrade promises to deliver the kind of performance that its aggressive hatchback style suggests, which should in turn help make it a little more appealing to prospective customers. Although you get almost 50% more power, the non-turbo version isn't so terrible that you want to avoid it completely. In fact, to all intents and purposes, it is as good looking and as well spec'd as this car. So it's unlikely that the new turbo motor will magically solve the Veloster's slow sales. The problem with this car isn't this car, it's these cars, all of which Hyundai quite oddly list as competitors. I say odd because the Toyota 86 is basically a tame sports car, and the Veloster might match the A3 and the Mini on spec, but it can't match their premium standing. Hyundai are asking people to spend up to 400,000 Rand on one of these, when they could be spending that same money on what, it has to be said, are better cars. And this isn't a case of me being a brand snob, because there are quite a few things about this car, particularly on the interior, that tell you it just isn't as well sorted as the others. It is well spec'd and it is comfortable, and it has electric seats and a panoramic roof and a good touchscreen interface, but some elements definitely let it down. The door handles feel very plasticky and a little less solid than they should, and then there's the cheesy turbo embroidered on the seats, which make it look more aftermarket than exclusive. The overall execution is good, but even though I don't like the interior of a Mini, it certainly is a step above what we have here. Rear space, accessed on one side by a spare door, is cozy, with two separate seats as opposed to a bench design. If you're an average height person, you'll certainly need to adjust for the low roof though. So what about the new turbo motor? Well, it's a 1600 four-cylinder with 150 kilowatts, 165 newton meters. There is the option of a 7-speed dual-clutch gearbox, but we've got the 6-speed manual. And it is a very good package. It's got good power off the line, nice in-gear acceleration, and it generally feels okay in any driving situation. Hyundai says the Veloster Turbo will get by on 7.2 litres per 100 k's on the combined cycle. Our consumption figure didn't go much below 10 at any point during our time with the car though. Besides that, the performance of the engine is generally very satisfactory, and it's the same with the ride setup. Well, within reason. Where the engine always feels good, the handling isn't quite as talented. The suspension setup is comfortable, but when you start pushing it, you find that the front end starts to get a little bit nervous and the electronics start interfering. Comfortable for the everyday drive? Absolutely. Designed for an involving experience? Not particularly. Drive it normally though, and the Veloster delivers a comfortable, hassle-free ride. It has a sport setting for the steering, but all that does is add a bit of weight to the setup without making it feel any less artificial. That lack of an appetite for enthusiastic driving is at odds with the packaging of the car. It's an attention-grabbing thing with nice proportions and a general attitude that suggests it's been built to be driven. And it is different. I might not get the one rear door design, but if nothing else, it sets it apart. The rear with its double-barrel exhausts is especially nice. 18-inch wheels, a coupe profile and lots of sculpted elements makes the Veloster Turbo stand out from anything else on the road, let alone in its class. It's also a design that has a surprisingly wide appeal, with positive comments from teenagers to grandparents. Not something you might expect from a car that is this different looking. The styling is this car's strongest point. The new motor delivers more power for a better drive, and the rest of the ride setup is about a comfortable everyday commute rather than out-and-out driving thrills. The Hyundai Veloster is a good car, but as much as I like supporting the underdog, it just can't match its more premium competition. With just under 50% more power compared to the original Veloster, the turbo motor delivers a satisfying drive no matter the driving situation. The 6-speed gearbox is just as enjoyable. It's a different looking option that offers good comfort and generally a decent drive. It's not built for any kind of dynamic fun though, and as much as it offers good spec, it's outdone in the premium stakes by its competition.